Hello, hello, hello. So, um, we're here with Xenogears Perfect Works because I've been meaning to read that, and I kind of never did, and I was considering reading it on stream, but I don't know, any stream where I've been doing basically nothing but read has not been my favorite. But, well, here we are anyway. I kind of want to, like, if I don't know, I feel like in order to fully send off Xenogears, we should take a look at this, right? But since this is literally just like a book, like, I mean, also look at how much there is to this. Okay, all of these pages. Okay, yeah. And then, yeah, we're still going. There's 4 web pages of pages like that. That's ridiculous. We're definitely not going to read all of this, I'm pretty sure. But some of the key bits. I've been told that the timeline, which I think is probably this bit here, is the most important piece. But, yeah, we're gonna go through it. But first, let's turn on the Xenogears soundtrack in the background so that we have something playing, because otherwise it'll feel very empty. Dark Dawn. Oh, also, actually, something I was considering doing, but kind of forgot until now. Hold on. I guess let's pause that real quick. And I'll just try to find it on YouTube real quick. Like, I was reminded of the opening cutscene for Xenogears, which I had kind of completely forgotten about while playing the game. But I thought it might be cool to just look at it again now that we know the context, or at least the full story and stuff. JP Audio improved subtitles? Sure. I guess for that I should quickly switch over to a different view though, so you can watch that more appropriately. Okay. Let's go. I am Alpha and Omega. The beginning and the end. The first and the last. That's that ship, you know. The big one. And there they are. I guess this is the city on the thing. Danger, danger. And once we've re-watched that, we'll get even more context via the Perfect Works. Oh, by the way, I guess you might have noticed my cool glasses. My reading glasses that I definitely totally have in for real. Ah, emergency. I feel like this visual quality is not better than what we watched on the emulator, but hey, whatever. Like, you know, it's like kind of trying to fix the pixelization, whatever, via, I don't know, some filters or something. Whatever, it's fine. That's the captain who, you know, went down with the ship. We heard about him later on. And I forgot that we knew him from the cutscene. Look at some save stations. Did you see that in the distance? Okay, let's go back. There, doesn't that look like the points where we save? Faust. Is that maybe the thing with those stupid talking faces? And this maybe was, what's it called? You know, the flying country, the nice people, basically. Maybe not. Might just be, noticing shapes and thinking too much of what they might mean. Well, engine room doesn't seem so good anymore. Ah. You shall be as gods is what that says. It's a little hard to read in this quality, but from the video that I watched that reminded me of this. Well, they mentioned that. And, you shall be as gods. Without context, could mean anything, but I guess to us, now that we've played the game, probably means, yo, I'm gonna consume you all, I'm Deus. And you shall be part of me. I think in one of those scenes, maybe we saw one of Faye's originals be separated, Yoasome, be separated from Ellie. But yeah, gonna read after rewatching this intro cutscene. Because I thought that would be interesting. I guess the lasers are being controlled by Deus, and he's trying to shoot down the people evacuating. That's pretty fucked up. Oh my god, is that Ellie? What are you doing, Captain? Oh, he's going down with the ship. Yeah, there's kind of a lot going on. Not really any of it you would understand without having played the game, but that's kind of interesting. And there's the wreckage. And who could that be? Wow. Oh shit. It's like Myung, I guess, but also maybe Ellie. In one person. Or maybe it's just Myung, I'm not entirely sure. There she is, the first, kind of human on that planet. File chip? Yeah, that's that intro cutscene. Now I'll close this. We will listen to some Xenogears music. And then we'll get into this. I mean, this is just the title page. Oh shit, you can kind of see the nipples. I don't. My video doesn't get flagged for that. But we got history, social structure, all in one word for some reason. Geography, monster, science, gear. What's that? Character, I guess? Yeah. Drama, gallery. Yeah, it's artful nudity, right? So, yeah. Then we just have this. Okay. This is, I guess, where it gets important, right? Episode 5, The Truth. The created world of the game Xenogears is a single part within an infinite flow of history. The time scale involved is more or less 15,000 years. Sheesh, that's even more time than we know about from the game. That was mostly 4,000 years, right? Yeah. Due to the large amount of information about this world, it is possible to determine the cause and effect that take place from past to the present. In order to bring the whole matter to light, we shall consider episode 5. Having heard the voice of the producer, the facts that were not revealed in the story will now be known, and the world's entirety will be understood. At the time, Xenogears touched their hearts, and its truth is reflected as light from a mirror. Okay, so I guess this stuff is what that episode 5 thing at the end was about? Like, out of all of these episodes that they're talking about here, we only got the happenings of the 5th one. So I guess let's start with episode 1 here. Episode 1. Takahashi reference? Oh, yeah. That's Takahashi the producer, I guess. I actually don't know many of the names involved. Era of interplanetary war. 15,000 years before the story, humankind set out from Earth and discovered a hospitable planet in the Archer constellation M24. It became known hereafter as Neo-Jerusalem. Oh, great name. And once again, humans headed for the abyss of space. As a result, humanity enlarged the circle of living things to encompass almost the entire galaxy approximately 10,000 years ago. Huh. So not just things on near Jerusalem, but like everything living in the entire galaxy is within their span of beings, I guess. Okay. At the same time, the interplanetary war which had broken out intensified. The universe became the stage for the devastation caused by the winds of war. At the same time, the interplanetary war which had broken out. Okay. The Deus system, which appears in the story, was developed in this era. But besides this phenomenon, this episode remains shrouded in mystery. Okay. Episode 2. Time of the Genesis. The Sega Genesis? Oh my god. Sentient life forms began to increase as the time of the world of Fae and the others. What? At this time. I can't read. Increase at this time in the world of Fae and the others. Cain became the human's progenitor and was revered as the divine emperor. Abel, a survivor of the Eldritch's fall to Earth, opposed the religion of Cain. Both he and Ellie began to grope for a new way of life. This is the background of episode 2 as the story advances. At that time, it was thought that Cain's own mission was to bring about the resurrection of Deus, and that he did not seek humanity's freedom, the main point of the story. We saw a little bit of Abel. We saw him get chased together with Ellie by, I think, the Emperor. And I think Ellie got shot down. And Cain was like, no, wait, no, I think Abel got shot down, because I think I remember Ellie being like, Abel, no! But maybe I got that twisted. At the time, it was the thought that Cain's own mission was to bring... and he did not seek humanity's freedom. Okay. Oh, there's... I guess there... Okay, no, wait. There's an episode 6 too. So it goes past the game that we played. Let me drink a little bit of my chalky milk. Episode 3. Zeboim Culture. Zeboim, the city that we got to head into in that optional area. By the way, I found out that there's another optional, like, dungeon-like area in the desert. I don't really know much else about it, though. Just that it's in the desert. Anyway. It probably isn't as cool or important as what we did, right? Right. The stage for episode 3 is close to that of the real world. Certainly kind of looks like it. It was the time of an advanced scientific culture. The level of human intelligence had attained its peak, but due to genetic damage, those unable to reproduce began, I guess there's a typo, to increase. Using nanotechnology, Kim, Abel's reincarnated form, worked towards finding a way to overcome this, but Myang's plot resulted in his complete failure. Well, but he did at least create Emeralda, right? Emeralda was born in this area, and nanotechnology was revived by one of the 3 sages of Shevat, Torah. 6 games. So I guess they wanted to start with 5, like kind of near the end, and then tell the story before, and then go to the end or something? Maybe? That could have been interesting. So that was 4,000 years ago, yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of the... Like 4,500 years ago were like the main... like times that we heard about throughout the game, right? And obviously Zeboim was 4,000 years ago. Yeah. Oh well. Episode 4, Solaris War. Approximately 500 years before Faye and the others were born, the continent of Ignis was the stage of Episode 4. At about that time, Cain and the Ministry judged humanity to be at the last stage of evolution, and Solaris was founded. This was done to establish direct control of the surface, but the humans of this era had evolved the ability to use the ether and the surface war against... To use ether and the surface war against Solaris reached an extreme. Before long, this great war of 500 years ago came to an end in what came to be known as the Day of Collapse. Right, that's when that, what's he called? Like some demon Diabolos, I think, showed up or something. The people of Shevat talked about that when we just kind of walked around talking to them. Episode 5, Xenogears, never heard of it. The resurrection of Deus having been held back until the year 9999, the story's hero, Faye, lives in the frontier village of Lahan. Little is known of Faye's origins or why he lived in the village, but 3 years ago he was carried to House of the Lahan. To House? Okay, sure, whatever. To House of the Lahan village chief Lee by a masked man. At the time, Faye's mind and body had both been greatly damaged, and until now he had lost nearly his entire memory. Then came the event of the attack on Lahan. This event becomes the trigger which will set Faye on the path of fate. Yeah, we kind of saw some of that in some detail, I guess. Episode 6. Now there should be things we haven't heard about at all, right? While the time directly after Episode 5 is pivotal, at this point in time it remains an completely undeveloped episode. It is only known to be the terminal point of Xenogears' world, and from now on the revealing of information is held back. Okay, so I guess there's not actually anything known here. It's just, hey, the story continues after 5. That's it. But now the director Tetsuya Takahashi's comments. That guy. The world of Xenogears is divided into 3 large parts containing the episodes. The first part takes place about 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years after our time, with the vast universe as its stage. So I guess this is supposed to actually be directly, like kind of technically part of our reality, just, way in the future. Not an alternative world quite so much. That's interesting, I guess. 5,000 years after our time, with the vast universe as its stage. The second part is the game, the story of Faye and the Others world. Third part tells of what comes after, which we don't know anything about yet. Within that, the 4 episodes must once again be looked at in detail in order to understand. From the beginning, the second part's secrets were contained in the various episodes, for example, in simulation games as well as novelizations. Virtually every medium was thought of in order to express it, and the result is that seen in the game. The meaning of the game Xenogears must be understood from the whole, as episodes 4 and 5 are but parts of the whole, while the stories of episodes 2 and 3 must be pieced together from fragments. Now the still unveiled episodes 1 and 6 weigh on the mind, indeed. And it was thought that certainly, by all means it should appear in print. What? Oh, wait, sure. And it was thought that certainly, by all means it should appear. No, I see now. And it was thought that certainly, by all means it should appear in print. Had some trouble with that one. The transition from fragmentary stories to finished product shall come about gradually. One way to make this come about would be to ask Zohar, please, and see what happens. Hey Zohar, please. Please? Nothing's happening. You thought Xenoblade 3 was episode 6? So, what's next? Okay. Table of contents. The truth of episode 2. History. I guess that's what we just did. What page is this? 4. So I guess this is all still a part of that. So history is up next. That's spelled all. From the birth of Deus to the game's adventure, both the truth and history of Xenogears are explained. The work of Xenogears has a long history of 10,000 years. For example, while the story of Faye and the Others' actions tells only a small part of the story, it provides the basis for a history that is by no means insignificant. Of course, the view of the world is constructed with only one history in mind, one that begins 15,000 years ago. In this case, the story's history will be explained in detail by beginning with the facts of the era in which Zohar is discovered. Yeah. 15,000 years ago, before humankind set out for the universe, an object was discovered. Before mankind set out for the universe, they accidentally found the origin of species. Oh. The third millennium time period, the beginning. The year 2001 AD, humankind excavates an unknown object. Oh, so I guess this would have happened in our world if, if this game's events were canon, I guess, in real life. Panspermia? Cosmologist Fred Hoyle advanced the theory of panspermia, explaining that the origin of the universe is in space. Since then, it has been proven that there are a great number of comets containing organic matter, and one theory proposed that life actually came from space. Yeah, I've heard of that theory, and it sounds like it could be true. We were the aliens the entire time! Wah! But it's kind of hard to say. Long ago, there was an era that came to be called, historically, the last coming of the Messiah. With the words left behind by notorious prophets to end their groundless fears, humankind faced the next 1,000 years as the third millennium began. It was the year 2001 Anno Domini. Because an eye-shaped object was discovered in a stratum dating to about 3.9 billion years ago, It was known as a distinctly artificially created form. I guess that's like that monolith thing with the eye on it that we saw in the game. One discovery shook the whole world. Finally, due to the efforts of a research consortium, a partial hypothesis in the case of the object was announced and released to the world. Oh, there's a physical copy. Neat. One discovery, we read that part. Buried beneath the accumulation of geological strata dating back to the era of life's origins, this very object is the basis of all life forms, the artificial panspermia, pan-universe seed child. Okay, so it actually is spermia, and it doesn't just sound like that. However, in the beginning, the hypotheses took on a greatly romantic meaning, the object's interpretation a jumble of conflicting theories, all springing from disordered conjecture. The center of the reasoning world was devastated. However, while their theory was vague, a theory based on reliable grounds did not exist. With many theories all vying with one another, what is the object? It is a question of long ago. What is an was it an artificial construct, or a mere byproduct of chance, a riddle which was never made entirely clear? The extent of the aimless confusion only grew deeper, and theories often without proof, again, only produced haphazard results. No, there's a P missing there, whatever. Only produced haphazard results. But those theories resulted in a measurement that brought about a coming to an end of things. According to that era's measurements, it became clear that the object had existed a distant 15 billion years ago in immense antiquity, separated from the universe at the time of the world's creation. That's quite a long time ago. I think I was like 12 around, 15 billion years ago. Still am 12 now. With the announcement of the measurements, they wandered in bewilderment and became engrossed in the deep riddle. God, that song just playing actually kind of spooked me. Like it awakened like this primal, oh shit, I gotta fight, no, not another goddamn random encounter kind of reaction in me. Holy shit. That's what Xenogears does to you. With its random encounters. Anyway, where was I? 15 billion years ago. With the announcement of those measurements, they wandered in bewilderment and became engrossed in the deep riddle. While the object might not be an artificial creation, it was already the province of God. As a result, because of its fairly strong surrounding magnetic field, it became known for convenience sake as MAM, magnetic abnormal matter, MAM. And the international scale analysis, with its applied research project and all attendant questions, were for all purposes frozen. The international scale analysis with its applied research project. Oh, okay. One part ended up in automatic researchers' hands, but only a close analytical operation continued, and so, among the researchers, it came to be known by another name, the name of Zohar. Let's read this thing up here. Study. Life was born from Zohar? Approximately 4.5 billion years ago, the planet Earth was born in the vastness of space. The Earth was at a fairly high temperature at this time, with carbon dioxide and vapor making up much of the atmosphere. After this, the Earth's temperature slowly began to cool down. The atmosphere and the vapor became a downpour, becoming the Sea of Life's origins. Why is sea in... I guess because it's not... whatever, it's fine. And so approximately 500 million years later, about 4 billion years before the present, Earth's beginning, life is born. However, opinion held that in the case of the theory that life originated from Earth nearly 500 million years after its birth was much too soon, and couldn't some form of drive have accelerated the birth of life. This sort of thinking and meteorite theory led to the birth of the panspermia hypothesis, which might not be totally unfounded. Yeah. Now the basis of these theories was that the stratum in which Zohar had been discovered, believed to date from the time of the Earth's formation, and it became clear that the time when Zohar existed in the Earth was nearly coincident. That Zohar might have directly made life. That part is hard to see with a white background, but whatever. Directly made life is a radical way of thought, and it is more accurate to conjecture at this point in time to have accelerated it. Only because so little about Zohar is referred to in the story, nothing clearly established has been said. However, it remains the core of the world view of Xenogears, as should be expected from the above stated comments. Right. So Zohar existed out in space for much longer than the Earth, but then landed on Earth, I guess, and it accelerated life coming to be on the planet. Seems to be the thing they are proposing here. Let me drink some water. Okay, now we have a bit of a timetable down there. 2510 is the year. Kind of an accurate number there. The world-scale project for immigration to space is set in motion. So that's about, 500 years from now. I wish I could go out to space right now. I mean, mostly as a joke, but I mean, whatever. The directorate is established with the aim of completing the immigrant project 15 years later. From that point on, the era name is reformed to TC, Transcend Christ. Okay. After this, 1 year equals 365 days. Pretty much same as usual. Providing the basis for the standard stellar year. So I guess maybe in this, in this they're just ignoring the leap years and just saying, nope, every year is 365. That makes sense, if you're out in space instead of on Earth. Just, hey, we're gonna stick to the years, the same duration, but we're gonna make it consistent. Because why not? That's good. Then I guess, the year TC0 is when they started doing that, and then 16 years later, Transcend Christ is a pretty weird name, though. If they're gonna fucking make a new system, then just remove religion from it, but I guess so many themes of this universe, of this game, and the story are biblical in many ways that this fits in, I guess. 16 years after the Directorate's founding, the earnest wish of the people to spread out to the stars, which they had held for as long as 500 years, at last was fulfilled. What? I feel like there's a comma missing or something. Whatever. Which I had held for as long as 500 years, at last was fulfilled. And the Earth became their mother as they were freed from gravity's rule. A fleet of emigrant ships was organized and set out, I guess, for the abyss of space. After that, the Earth became an inviolable region, a forbidden place, and was called Lost Jerusalem. The reason for this is unknown, for it is thought that the planet's surroundings did not greatly change. I assumed when they talked about. Or no, I guess this is not the same as when Kim was alive, right? But I guess for this also I would just assume some nuclear war, some bullshit, or I guess climate change is also a likely candidate. Something the humans fucked up. That I feel like we can be pretty certain about, even though it's not specifically stated. What else could it be? Let's be real. 294. Approximately 250 years elapsed as the immigrant fleet wandered, at last reaching the M24 Archer constellation, where they deployed ships in order to discover possible planets to reside in. Landfall. The new planet becomes the Promised Land and is named Neo Jerusalem. And it was there that they began to dwell. But I guess this must be yet a different planet from where Xenogears takes place, right? Because they crash landed on the Xenogears planet. So that has to be, they must have left this planet, Neo Jerusalem, again. Right? Yeah. 295, that's just 1 year later. The Star Cluster Federation is inaugurated. Neo Jerusalem becomes the Federation's first prime star. The immigrant governing organization, the Directorate, is unified, then reorganized. The first president is elected, after Neo Jerusalem is chosen as the chief cardinal point as, once again, humankind heads out to the abyss of space. Blank space of 4.5 thousand years. Oh boy. It's very interesting, I guess, that Xenogears, buy I guess copyrights by the. I guess copyrights is probably the best way to describe it. Can't officially be part of the Xeno saga and Xenoblade, series, but apparently from what you're telling me, this stuff is directly related to Xenosaga, at least. That's very interesting. The era when humanity's science reaches its zenith. From 10,000s... Why is it spelled like that? That's weird. Of years ago to 15,000s. Why? I mean, I guess 15 is a much longer word to spell than the two letters, than the two numbers here. The two digits. But 10 is 3 letters instead of 2 digits. Whatever. It was the period of scientific technology. Neo Jerusalem, the first world capable of supporting life that was acquired by humanity, establishing a base on this planet. Once again, they pushed outwards. Even though they grew in knowledge, it was only scientific. Their spiritual expansion did not occur, and so there was a sudden outbreak of a large-scale war. Womp womp. And the living creature Dias. So even though freed from gravity's pull and expanding their frontier out into space, the same thing began to happen all over again. Friggin' humans. Interstellar war intensifies. Deus out of control. Looks like all of these events here happen in pretty close proximity. The 7th millennium. Due to the efforts of other archaeologists, at last an artifact from the former Lost Jerusalem's time, MAM, abnormal magnetic matter, and the Pilgrim Fleet, as they are called, are found, it is thought, in the storeroom of a museum ship that is part of a wandering religious sect's fleet. Huh. Okay, some religious sect's fleet was carrying the MAM, and also, as they are called, blah blah, are found. Yeah. No wait, the museum ship was part of this religious sect's fleet, but they had that. Okay. Maybe they are trying. Maybe Takahashi has an ongoing, like, mission, and at some point maybe he will succeed. Or maybe he has given up and is just trying to incorporate what he wanted to do with Gears now in Blade and maybe some other games. After approximately 5,000 years, analysis of MAM begins once more. That's in the year 4744. Just 1 year after it was found again, I guess. 4750. As a result of MAM analysis, the theory of phenomenon phase shift is born. Is that the thing that's powering everything? Because it was like the possibility whatever phenomenon thing is powering all of this. Bad blood, huh? Bummer. All the research groups, this is in 4751, all the research groups attempt to master this using MAM as its core, so as to turn suppositional theory into proven fact. Project Zohar commences. 1 year later, strife in the region intensifies. Of course. Then in 4765, bit of a jump. Due to an accident, the cause of which is unknown, Project Zohar causes the destruction of a planet. Oh no. MEM is found floating in the nearby region and recovered. I feel like we heard about a planet being destroyed in the game by Zohar or something. Maybe I'm getting that confused though. 4766. With the controlling system Kadamani, we know about that thing, the completion of Zohar seems almost completed. Now at the center is Kadamani, I don't know, that has as its central core the protocol center Persona, and like the inner workings of MAM, its processes are unknown. The same year, interstellar war appears to be reaching its climax, and in the midst of all this, System Deus is completed. Uh-oh. 1 year later, during a series of experiments on both systems in NGC 6744, Note 1. I don't see a Note 1, but maybe it's just this stuff down here. Anyway, during a series of experiments on both systems NGC 6744, 3 months after Zohar is made Deus's main power source, construction of a space station in a stationary orbit is begun at Mictam 04 Beta. It's kind of thin and hard to see, but I'm pretty sure that's the beta. Mictam 04 Beta colony planet, which is undergoing colonization and terraforming. That year, during a series of experiments, an accident in which both systems run out of control for unknown reasons occurs. Unknown reasons, huh? Surely couldn't have anything to do with Deus. The rampaging Deus begins to invade the nearby colony at Mictam. Unnumbered casualties result. The military, fearing Deus's overwhelming fighting power, at last subdue it at the cost of many lost lives and place it in its suspended animation. Afterwards, Deus is dismantled into its various cores and sealed, for the sake of the official investigation into the accident that caused it to go out of control, and for the further planning. The super space cruiser, the Eldridge, is requisitioned. Deus is loaded on board for transferal to another planet. Now the Eldritch takes on the workers and survivors from the nearby planet, about 1.2 million people, as refugee passengers. Huh. So I guess this planet that this all took place on might still be out there doing its own thing. And the Eldritch didn't necessarily flee that planet because things were going to shit. They just it was more like a mission to get Deus off of there and put it somewhere else. Interesting. Yeah. Let me drink some chalky milk. Think brain time. Okay. Philadelphia class super space cruiser, the second ship, Eldritch. Various ships and vessels appear throughout the story. These were brought along with the Eldritch at the time of its fall to the planet. Here is introduced for the first time the vessels loaded on board and the division of the ship into blocks. Yeah, that's the Eldritch, right? Front block Babel. Babel, huh? That fits in. I guess I gotta read this, but this might fit in with what I was thinking about the Babel Tower while I was playing, but we'll see. For a ship on the scale of the Eldritch, every major block is made to be fully functional on its own. The 4-block Babel becomes Babel Tower in the story. Yeah. Also, the case of the 4-block. In the case of the 4-block, it contains a large-scale plant for HLV use. When Chevat was built, this became its central block section. So yeah, I guess as I thought. Babel Tower was, originally meant to be, 90 degrees more horizontal rather than vertical. But I guess that's kind of obvious. Middle block, Mahanan. Another name we've heard. The block containing the computer Raziel that governs the entire Eldritch, like the 4-block Babel. It achieves a soft landing due to its independent navigational ability. In the case of Raziel, the first fusion of an alien civilization's weapon and biological information. It records material regarding Deus. It is for this reason afraid that this information could leak to human beings and that the Gazelle Ministry use gate technology to prevent anyone from going to Mahanan. So I guess Mahanan is the... what are they called again? Those people's station. The bad guys, kind of. Deus Zohar Kadomoni. I'll just pronounce it however I feel at each moment. The strongly restrained Deus is suspended in suspended animation, with each core divided from the other is loaded onto the Eldritch. During the opening movie, when the operator calls out Alpha 1, it refers to the biological computer Kadomoni's mainframe, primary protocol persona. Omega 1 indicates Deus's actual body. Prayer Star Fleet Cruiser Excalibur number 1. After the Eldritch's crash, it was excavated by Shevat and restored. During a great war of 500 years ago, it was destroyed by Merkava's special attack with Sophia on board, the second most powerful of the battleships. Prayer Star Reconnaissance Vessel Excalibur number 2. Excavated at the same time by Shevat, it was also restored and during the story became the sword for Yggdrasil. Incidentally, other battle-class ships beside Excalibur are on board. So it became the sword for that huge mech that we kind of only got to play in that one fight on the second disc, where it was like, by the way, this entire place is actually a huge mech. Play it. Okay, it's done. Is that where that happens? Attack land cruiser, Yggdrasil 4th. The powerful landing cruiser, the Yggdrasil, is able to respond to moving targets in space, like battlecruisers and colonies, and it has the ability to transform. It's not overstating, maybe, to say that large-scale ships with long-range navigational abilities are on the scale of a small nation, equipped with military power. Of course, during the transport of Deus, the military power was upped considerably. Right. Deus's revolt initiating the self-resurrection program. Looks like we're going to go into another type of counting years, but for now we're in the year 4767. Even in suspended animation, Deus suddenly activates during the transfer. The sealed Zohar separates from Deus, hacks into the Eldritch's mainframe, artificial intelligence Raziel, and takes over. Activating space displacement mode, it plans to move the Eldritch and everyone on board the main star. Temporarily given the position as the Eldritch's captain by the Technology Research Headquarters as a special assignment, eradication, Special Corps Colonel Higeyoshi Inoue makes the decision to abandon the Eldritch and devises a plan to use the central ship's boat system to stop Deus. When it takes over the ship's explosive plug, that task becomes impossible. There, the central spinal shaft fusion bolt is exploded, Note 2. This is the plan to sever the spinal shaft, Note 3, so as to take the Eldritch out of space displacement mode, and in essence, the loss of spinal shaft causes the Eldritch to lose the ability to maintain mass balance, and shortly thereafter, it is caught by the nearby planet's gravity and plunges into the atmosphere. Due to the effects of gravity, due to the effects of gravity, the main body of the Eldritch begins to break up. Nearly all the blocks are destroyed by the friction of the atmosphere, and the sudden impact of with the surface causes a great release of energy. Only the block with emergency navigational ability is able to soften the landing. It escapes complete destruction, but it is not known if there are any survivors. The central part of the ship's body, where Deus is stored, falls into the center of the ocean and sinks into the sea floor. Zohar's actual body falls at peak speeds of many kilometers per second. Immediately after governing system Kadamoni separates itself from Zohar's main body, it achieves a soft landing on the coast of a continent. And there, what might be Myung emerges, I guess. Year 0, System Hawa, Hawwa, activates and separates from the protocol persona's base program Elohim. Interesting name. The planet's first sentient beings are born. System Hawa forms the founders of human beings, Cain, and the 12 people of Gazelle from Animus, parts of Kadamoni. Elohim, very different name, obviously. Elohim and Myung split from the manager system Hawa. The plan to reconstruct the enormous Deus system, in reality Zohar, is begun. The Eldritch's only survivor, it is thought, the boy Abel, at that time 7 years old, meets the newly separated Elohim. Cain and the others, making use of Calamoni's functions, begin to produce the prototype of different species, human beings. Those life forms there that are called humans rapidly increase at an exponential rate for a short period of time. However, the pace of this slows down shortly thereafter. Okay. I guess they rapidly increase means like, their numbers increase and not like their evolution like gets faster or some shit. I think that's what that's supposed to mean. The year 10, of which I still don't know what it's referred to. I guess it wasn't given a name yet because, people hadn't made up a number for that yet because they were just, they had just come into being basically on this planet. They didn't know things. But anyway, year 10. Cain begins to be worshipped as the advent of God among the people. Abel rebels against this worship. The thinking of Abel becomes a hindrance to Cain. 1 year later, Cain plans to eradicate the foreigner Abel. Elohim dies in Abel's place. Myung observes this in silence. Good old Myung. Yeah, here the year resets, I guess. After almost 5,000 years. A new count. Eldridge. The Eldridge as a colony ship is the second of the space cruisers in the Philadelphia class. The colony resides in the hull of the ship. In the beginning scene, the streets are visible from an opening in the ship's gunwale. Yeah. The Eldridge is requisitioned by the military on a temporary basis for the transferal of Deus. For this reason, the 8 members of the bridge's crew are military personnel. Spectator. Normal weight, 27 billion tons. Okay. I could lift that. Widest measure, 42 kilometers. I'm about that tall too. Long range effect, 100 kilometers. Cool. Chronology supplement. Oh geez, that's a lot of small text. Let me drink some water to be able to stomach that. Note 1. These digits indicate its place in the Hubble. Can I zoom in any more on this? No, I guess not. I mean, I could manually zoom in with like the browser. I guess let's do that. There. These digits indicate its place. Is this visible on stream? Yes, it is. Okay. These digits indicate its place in the Hubble classification system. The next mictam shows the name of the star system. I don't recall what this is talking about, which numbers and stuff, whatever. The next 2 digits signify the 4th planet in the system. In the case of the satellite in upper orbit, I guess note 1 is actually... No, wait. No, this is for this page. Whatever. In the case of the satellite in upper orbit, it is further denoted by... The last beta indicates that the planet is classified as one whose environment is capable of being probably reconstructed. Some amount of atmosphere and a sea as well. Okay. A planet needing reconstruction. Also, this class isn't permanently fixed. It corresponds to the reconstruction level of the environment, so that alpha indicates its current level of progress. The result is that the class alpha is not to be shown. Because the active state of reconstruction in class gamma, class gamma, The difficulties on the planet below for making a profit are many. In the end, in the case of the star Mictam's fourth planet, it rates as a reconstruction class beta planet. That is the meaning of this designation. Note 2. The original use of the spinal shaft separation function, large-scale module collection facilities are placed in various points throughout the Eldritch's hull for convenient separation. In the case of continual use, module exchange facilities are present. Note 3. One reason the bolt was exploded was because it was judged that Deus would seize the approximately 9 portions of the ship's hull and control it. Normally, it is unusable during flight navigation, thus the reason for the joint bolt, showing that it is already under Deus's control. All in vain. In the end, kind of. The universe, 10,000 years ago. Approximately 5,000 years after humanity leaves the nest of the mother planet, Earth. The complex array of small nations band together, forming the Galactic Federation, held together by the central governing body, the Directorate. The outer frontier nations begin small skirmishes. Rivalries, space pirates, and the like become the accepted norm, finally causing the outbreak of interstellar war. Also, at around this time, the previously unknown whereabouts of MAM changes when it is discovered on the ship of an ancient religious sect. Wait, what? The previously unknown whereabouts of MAM changes what is when it is discovered. Okay, I feel, huh? Also, at around this time, the previously unknown whereabouts of MAM changes when it is discovered on the ship of an ancient religious sect. Oh, I guess the whereabouts of... Okay. Right. Yeah, they found the whereabouts of it. Now. Okay, I think. And what is the meaning of all this? That will need to be determined by succeeding generations, but after a period of almost 5,000 years, the analysis of MAM is begun once more. I keep thinking this phrasing of "is begun" is a little weird. I think it's technically not wrong, but I don't think people use that usually. Oh well. And in the process of analyzing MAM, there is Zohar phase shift theory and Kadomany. After that, Deus is born. However, at that time, scientists did not have full control. The main star Deus was heading for. During the opening movie, Deus takes over Raziel and engages space displacement mode planning to take the Eldritch to the main star. The main star is not this era's prime star, Neo Jerusalem, but Lost Jerusalem. In other words, it is heading for Earth. In regards to the measures taken by Deus to plot a course for Earth, this is never explained fully in the story. Yeah, sure isn't. However, the people of this time certainly revere it as the Holy Star, Lost Jerusalem. The year TC16, from the time that humanity set out for the stars, marked the time when Earth became the forbidden place, and it is said that about this time it became impossible to enter its zone. Why Earth becomes inaccessible, no one knows. At least it is thought that no sudden change took place in the region. In the case of Earth, it is wondered what kind of secret would be hidden there. I already said my theory, right? That it's something that the humans messed up. War or climate change or something. The influence of the wave existence self-revival program of Deus. Deus is wounded by the self-destruction and fall of the Eldritch. In order to restore its own body, people as parts are mass-produced. As for what it wants, it looks toward coming fights to achieve complete revival. But the bottom of this revival is tied in with the wave existence as well. which fell into the third dimension. The important factor for revival. In order for the living weapon Deus to revive itself, it needed to use the existing humans as life parts. However, just growing human beings would not achieve complete revival. It also needed the very nature of the human body, also the parts produced by Cadomini, anima and animus. The protocol persona is also an indispensable factor. Here, all the necessary factors for Deus's resurrection are explained one by one. Why the purpose of differentiating into Myung Hawa? Why differentiate into Myung Hawa? While it is difficult now to understand the reason, it is probably tied to the within with the wave existence's will. Originally, Elohim resulted from its contact with Abel and was formed by biological computer Cadomini. Her body evolved by protocol persona. This is Elohim, the existence brought into being due to Abel and the wave existence. Also, the construction of her living essence is due to the management of Deus. Original Elohim is part of both Deus and the wave existence. As supporting evidence, in the opening movie, the words exon replacement appear. Here, the primary goal for changing the original Elohim into Myung Hawa is the activation of Deus. The primary goal for changing original Elohim into Myung Hawa is the activation of Deus. Okay, I see. To put it simply, the on state of Deus is called Myung, and the off state is called Elohim. So after Myung creates humanity's founders... wait, I lost where I am on the screen. After Myung creates... okay, here I am. So after Myung creates humanity's founders, Cain and the others, Elohim and Myung, are differentiated. Right. Here, responding to Abel's recurring wish, the wave existence supplies the mother's will. And so, Elohim's differentiation from Myung is done so that she may provide the role of mother to the contact Abel. Without the wave existence's advent, would it have been necessary to have Elohim divided into Myung? Who can say? Human beings as parts. Let me drink some of my chocolate milk. Because that is a part of me. For the various kinds called humans, the change in exterior form due to the environment results in a unique shape and function, becoming attracted to the body. Let me reread that. For the various kinds called humans, the change in exterior form due to the environment results in a unique shape and function, becoming attracted to the body. Sure. As for the meaning of humans, the living body is reformed with an inborn fate. For the sake of spurring on the advancement of these reforms, the Gazelle push forward the M project, resorting to artificial measures. It involves the construction of Merkava's materials with the eventual goal of turning humans into angels. Also a measure of inducing reform. Reset is used to be able to go about doing this, like using nuclear power during the Zeboim era when reform was desired. Okay. However, doubts have surfaced. As living parts of Deus, the question arises, what are humans needed for? In this instance, the reason exists in history. Okay. As experimental bodies for the coming war, the human form is grown and formed into a living body, and so after the complete resurrection, They are used to stimulate the battle against the hostile power of the enemy. To prove the truth of this, the Myung of 500 years ago incited the contact between Lacan and Zohar, thus resurrecting the Diabolos core. The Diabolos core are a first stage of Deus's form as mobile terminals. Myung tests the ability of humans and differences between them and the Diabolos cores in battle. Hey, O-Fiber. Thanks. They are my totally necessary reading glasses. But yeah, I'm... like, this is like additional reading, you could say. That, like, stuff that they couldn't put into the game and the games that they originally planned on making but couldn't. They instead, like, you know, put all of that into a pretty massive book, which apparently is, like, deeply connected to the Xenosaga and Xenoblade series, even though technically, from a rights standpoint, like, they can't officially be, because Xenogears is Square, and the other Xeno games are Monolith Soft. And I guess Xenoblade is Monolith and Nintendo, I guess, probably. But yeah. Oh, Namco. Okay. But, you know, Monolith's still behind it, right? So Diablo's core is like a thing. It's not just one creature or something like it maybe sounded like in the tellings of the people in the game. Yeah. During a series of experiments, during a series of tests on Deus and Zohar, the wave existence fell from the higher dimension where it had dwelled. Also at the time, one small boy happened by chance to come into contact with it. This contact had great effects on Deus' self-resurrection program afterwards. Maybe? I didn't really read those, so I don't know. So, what do I read next on this? I guess I'll go down. Wave existence, upper dimension. A squiggly, or rather a jagged line towards Zohar, and the path of Sephiroth is in the middle. Yeah, I guess, you know, I can't actually read. That's right why I didn't read those. Then Zohar, phenomenon transfer machine. Up there is the fusion with Deus, the interstellar assault weapon. Wave existence side. Okay, the red stuff is wave existence, the yellow stuff is Deus side. And Zohar is also connected directly to the biological computer Kadamani and the original Elohim. I guess that line is going out to the right there. Then down from Zohar is the contact Abel. That, I guess, Abel when he was a little boy. The only survivor of that crash, I guess. During a series of experiments... No, wait, let's, I guess, go from left to right. Because from over here it connects to here, so let's do it like that. Wave existence, upper dimension. An existence from a higher dimension without any material body. An unfathomable wave-like object. Before the birth of the universe, there was one being where all was wave existence within a wave-like dimension. Due to Zohar's phenomenon transfer, to avoid crisis, it fell to the third dimension. That sounds kind of crazy. Because, like, this wave existence at the end of the game was kind of treated like to kind of be like the actual god or something. You know, with Deus obviously not really being god, but just like a bio computer weapon type thing with a will of its own and a lot of power, obviously. The wave existence seemed like it might actually be like some higher life form. And I guess it still is, but like it got affected by essentially what humans did in a way. So I guess that places it on a not quite godly scale. Maybe. During a series of experiments that were top secret within the military, a mysterious boy stood there by chance. He gained mysterious powers due to his contact with the wave existence. Yeah, that's Abel. And then the Kadomini thing, I guess, connects to... Or I guess we're gonna go to the top first, whatever. Let's start where I was at the bottom there. Started at the bottom, now we're here. Anyway. A woman born when the wave existence made contact with Abel during a series of experiments on Deus and Zohar. During the story, the wave existence, corresponding to Abel's earnest wish, formed Elohim and gave her a mother's will. However, the truth appears to be much deeper than that. This is the final boss theme, isn't it? It's a pretty good one. Due to Zohar acting as a phenomenon transfer machine, an experiment is held to determine whether it will activate Deus. Due to Zohar's phase shift, in the process creating infinite energy, it also called a machine of infinite renewable source. It is also called a machine of infinite renewable resource. Yeah, well, you know, there are some typos in this, so that is obviously one of those, clearly. Eyes. 10,000 years ago. Zohar. Approximately 5,000 years ago, an unknown object was discovered. Its main body being the eye-shaped portion, it was said to be the product of an Uber technology. Anima relic. One of the parts, by the way, I don't like that when I move my mouse up and down here. It also, you know, moves this stuff around. But it does, so we have to live with it. Because I would like to just highlight, you know, what I'm reading. That would make it easier in some of these longer, smaller sections. But I kind of can't. Anyway, Anima Relic. One of the parts of Kadomini. When fused with non-living matter, it plays the central role as one of Deus's terminal interfaces. Anima and Animus. Anima is the name given to those of the living parts forming the biological computer Kadomini. It is one of the indispensable factors in the resurrection of Deus. However, the anima were scattered to every corner of the earth at the time of Eldritch's fall to the surface, when it self-destructed and all knowledge of them was lost. Roused to action, the Gazelle Ministry began to look for their location. But because they could not determine where they fell, the search continues into the present day. Due to the actions of Myang Hava, I feel like that. Like, how am I supposed to pronounce WW? Whatever. The forms of the Animus were changed into humanity's founders, Cain and the others. Animus, in the form of living humans, are needed as working cores for the revival of Deus. Having become the original form of Animus, Cain and the others are the 13 members of the Gazelle search for the next 10,000 years for the anima relics that make up the parts of Deus. The humans forming parts of Deus are developed and managed thereafter. Let's go for Elheim and Myang next. The protocol of biological computer Kadomini, Persona, is an integral part in controlling Zohar. However, in order to effect the revival of Deus, original Elohim in the form of Myang Hawa is needed to create the gazelle. Afterwards, Myang Hawa divides from Elohim and returns to the molecular construction planet, with Elohim as a mother and Myang as a weapon. Yeah. With Elohim as a mother and Myang as a weapon, she continues to work behind the scenes of history. Fundamentally, Cain becomes the manager for those 13 people whose forms contain animus. Elohim is programmed to awaken as the last Myang of the day of resurrection and merge with Deus. I guess so. The part where Myang died and resurrected, or rather took over Ellie's body, was pre-programmed all that time ago. I mean, the part where she dies, she kind of had to make that happen, I guess. But, her controlling Ellie afterwards was not just her wanting to do that, but just that being, pre-programmed. Study. Deus's desired resurrection. Created as a mobile interstellar weapon, Deus is programmed with hostile destructive power. However, due to its having run out of control in a series of experiments, it began to destroy an allied fortress. Upon receiving this information, the military overwhelmed Deus at the cost of a great many casualties and placed it in suspended animation. We heard about that. Afterwards, in order to aid in the investigation into the cause for its running out of control, Deus is transferred to another star system. But on the way, it falls to the planet that appears in the story. At last, 10,000 years having elapsed since its fall to the planet, Deus puts into motion its completed plan for resurrection. Even though the passage of those 10,000 years are almost an eternity for the humans, it may be just an instant for the weapon Deus. However, doubt remains, and that is after the resurrection. After the resurrection, is it possible that the hostile power that it relied on will continue to exist? I feel like that sentence was phrased weirdly. But maybe I just can't read. That is the question. In any case, its thoughts turn to the possibility that a hostile creature could in fact destroy it. The resurrection plan is simply the will of it as a weapon. If it is merely about destroying a hostile enemy, clearly the extraordinary cost of the plan is not in equal measure. From this it can be seen that Deus does not just want to destroy an enemy force, but it can be inferred that possibly another goal exists. The crux of the matter is that while Deus was in transit amidst all the other star systems of the Interstellar Federation, it made plans to go to the mother planet. In terms of the complete revival of Deus, in this case, is this the entirety of all that it absolutely must do, no matter what? But why? Why does it want to return to the mother planet? Mysterious. Activation of the repair program. Maybe the fact that it is inhospitable and can't be entered anymore and all that, maybe that's a lie. Maybe they've been lied to and only Deus is the remainder of that knowledge. But it can't, tell anyone because it just can't. Who knows? But I guess here the line from the previous page continues. Activation of the repair program. Determining that it will not escape the destructive impact with the surface at the time of Eldritch. There's a G missing there. Unless there's also an Eldride. Let me start over. Determining that it will not escape the destructive impact with the surface at the time of the Eldritch's fall, Deus separates from Kadomini. After Kadomini achieves a soft landing, Myang Hawa awakens and forms the founders of humanity, Cain and the others. So, preparing for the day when it might be revived, Deus begins its long slumber on the ocean floor. Let's start up here. Abo, the only survivor at the time of Eldritch's crash, according to the wave existence's will, he is fated to be the destruction of Deus. Well, I guess that kinda sorta worked out in the long term. Anima relics. The living elements that make up the biological computer Kadomini. After the crash of the Eldritch, their whereabouts become unknown. Awakes? Is that Myang that awakes, or what was it? No, the original Elheim, yeah, right. So I guess she's the one that awakes, Myang Hawa, and she differentiates between the main body, Elheim, Eli, and supplemental body, Myang Mu. That's funny. It's probably not meant to be funny, but I think it's kind of funny. Myang Hawa, having created Cain and the others, return inside the molecular reconstruction plant after forming Elheim and Myang from herself. Right. I think that's the kind of like almost, what's the word for it? Like the, I guess almost mummified, I want to say, even though obviously that's not the right word. The body that we saw in that, in the thing, that's the original body. And forming is Myang Hawa, Animus' original form, the ancestors of humanity formed from living elements, Animus, of Kadomini. Afterwards, they began to mass-produce those humans who would be parts for Deus. Emperor Cain, Gazelle Ministry. That fucking Gazelle Ministry, seriously. Worst characters in the game. Not only because they are actually just kind of bad people, but also because they kept doing that stupid talking heads, mysterious, nothing makes sense bullshit. Fuck those guys. Anyway. And they formed Animus. Those humans made by Cain and the others become diversified into their various kinds. Formed using Kadomini, their evolution is advanced. Human. Okay. The destruction of modern culture by nuclear war. Womp womp. A highly advanced civilization have already existed 4,000 of years ago, but what? The humans created by Cain and the others attain their intellectual peak, heading towards the glorious time. However, due to inborn genetic flaws, the people of this time are beset with worry over the fact that their average lifespan is shortening. Yeah, that's the... yeah. The era's Myang, as administrator of humanity, judges that the humans of this era are flawed and cannot be used as part of Deus. Or for Deus. Expecting that, due to the widespread radioactivity, humans will suddenly mutate, she begins to lay the groundwork for the full-scale outbreak of nuclear war. Oh, Myang. Oh, Myang. Oh, boy. I guess we're back to counting in the, what was called... something Christ. Surpass Christ or some shit. I guess we're back in counting that way? Or I guess no, I guess it's just been 6,000 years since this news, this new stuff has started. Yeah, Myang is, phew, she is goal-oriented, I guess. Let's call it that. Nanotechnology's potential, Myang's plot, Zeboim culture. 6053. Twin sisters awake as Myung MO611 and MO612. Huh. 655, just 2 years later. Kim is born. Elheim is born. Ellaheim is born. Is this just a different spelling? Because, like, the first couple times I thought it was, you know, Ellaheim is actually different from Elheim. It was like the original form or something. But now, this Elheim, I would assume, is like, shares the same name as the Elheim from the game. So maybe Ellaheim is just a different spelling, a different interpretation of the Japanese spelling, but refers to the same name. That's probably it. 6071. Kim enters Federal University, enters medical school. 6074. Taking college entrance exams, he enters the Faculty of the Biological Sciences. Huh? I guess he first went to university and then took on another college thing. I guess so, yeah. Department. Here he begins research on molecular machines. That same year, Elheim begins working at the Federal Hospital as a nurse. 1 year later, Kim continues his studies at the institution. That year he takes his graduate degree. And in 6077, for Kim, this is a period of transition from student to researcher, and he publishes a thesis in the academic world seeking a way to reconstruct genes with the molecular machines. Specifically, the plan involves the proposal that nanomachine colonies be used to create artificial life. That would never work. He could never succeed in that. Or could he? However, this proposal is seen as blasphemy against God. Oh, jeez. And to avoid heresy, Kim is banished from the academic world. Jeez, man. That year, having been driven out of the academic community, Kim abandons molecular machine research and re-enters the medical department. His aim is to once again tread the path towards becoming a doctor. I guess if you have a secondary, like, goal, aim, destination as doctor, I guess it's not so bad, but still. Fuck the fucking religious people again. And a year after that, Myung judges that this era's humans are defective for becoming parts for Deus. The result of the meeting between Myung and the ministry decides the outcome. As one of the close associates of Zeboim's head state, she begins to make preliminary arrangements for all-out nuclear war. Jeez. And a year later, Kim becomes federal government doctor. He and Elheim meet at the same hospital. Oh my. And then, in 6081, the anti-government group Ravine is involved in the exploding of the central electrical facility. Due to this terrorist attack, the capital city experiences a 50% blackout. Let me drink some water. And maybe zoom in. Just a little more. The Federal Hospital also experiences an outage, and as a result of this, an unfortunate tragedy occurs where Kim loses the life of a young girl under his care. Ah. A young girl, huh? That year, Myung takes notice of Kim's thesis and conceals it, seeing its possibilities. Having simulated the measures for evolving humans, Myung contacts the department's doctor, Kim, and offers the use of a research facility as a sponsor. Accepting her offer, alongside his work as a federal doctor, he once again undertakes the research into molecular machines. That year, anti-government group Ravine also acquires Kim's thesis. Oh no. Seeing the potential in the thesis for the creation of dangerous weapons, they also contact Kim. Uh-oh. Well, I'll probably play it like pretty soon. Because I don't really know what to play currently. I just want like something in between RPGs. So that I don't get tired of them. Especially since, the RPGs I play tend to be pretty long. And I'm guessing like, Saga will be not a short game. Oops. The dying species. For those humans of the era who have become the third... Let me skip this song, the lyrics are distracting me. I'm sorry, it's not because the song is bad, it's just distracting. For those humans of this era who have become the third Anonelbe, their time as this kind is coming to an end. Due to widespread inborn genetic damage, those incapable of leaving behind descendants began to increase. Originally, the people of this era were a short-lived species, average lifespan of around 30 years, that's pretty short indeed. And this truth leads them to despair, as their life cannot be extended. They feel outraged that only destruction lies in wait at the end of life. As the shaping administrator, Myung marks the situation, judging that this era's humans are defective parts. As a result of the consultation between her and the Gazelle Ministry, it is decided that humans will be reset, using full-scale nuclear war. The reason this era's people are called the Third Anonelbe is because humans had been reset 2 other times in the past. I am so curious about the word Anonelbe, maybe I'll Google that in a second. Totally unaware of Myung's planning, Kim continues his research, trusting humanity's future to nanotechnology. Okay, let's Google Anonelbe. Maybe that's also like a religious term, Anonelbe. Xenosaga Wiki, Xenogears, Anonelbe Final Fantasy, Brave Exvius, what the fuck? Anonelbe. I guess it's not necessarily something from outside of the games. In that case, what the fuck kind of word is that? Oh. Nanotechnology in use. Kim's proposed nanotechnology would replace the defective DNA with the correct genetic code supplied by machines. While a radical theory, the ultimate technology was in the manipulation of the human DNA. But that era scientists judged that Kim's proposed research thesis was blasphemy unto God. A great heresy completely out of the norm, Kim was banished forcefully from the academic community, and afterwards he re-entered medical school. The nanotechnology itself was thought to have been shelved. In Est calendar year 6081, Myung got a hold of Kim's research thesis by chance, and with the expectation of reforming a new humanity, she offered Kim a research facility. However, the future reform of humanity, she decided, was entirely different from the future that Kim desired. When Kim realized this later on, he contacted the anti-government group Ravine. Oh. Wait. But earlier it said that Ravine contacted him. And they were founded before Myung even contacted Kim, no? Oh, wait, sorry. He contacted the anti-government group Ravine, not formed them. I don't know why my brain like switched out the meaning between contact and form. But it kind of did. But still, I think here it says that they contacted him, didn't it, in the earlier thing? Ravine also acquired Kim's thesis, seeing the potential for the thesis for the creation of dangerous weapons. They also contact him. I guess it doesn't matter in the end so much who contacted whom, but it kind of, it changes the vibe a little bit. But I guess it makes more sense for Kim to... I think I prefer this theory Because otherwise, like, two separate factions kind of coincidentally stumbling upon this research that Kim was working on a while ago would be a little too coincidental. So this is a little more reasonable, I guess. The part where he contacts them. Zeboim's destruction and aftermath. At the time, Myung as a close advisor for the head of state, manipulating the world behind the scenes. Oh, wait. That's the sentence. Relations with other countries are slowly worsened, and the outbreak of large-scale war is only a matter of time. In order to deter this, the anti-government organization Ravine resists the government's military. At last, Kim, having realized Myung's true nature, chooses different methods than Ravine, and he determines to begin his own independent war. Okay. As a result, his research facility is invaded by the military and Ellie is lost. Oh no. Afterwards, Kim disappears, having sealed himself up with Emeralda. And so that same year, suddenly all-scale nuclear war breaks out over the entire surface of the Earth. Other than the small part of humanity that seeks shelter and escapes, all are destroyed. Destroyed, obviously. In addition to this, after the nuclear holocaust, large-scale plate movements occur everywhere on Earth. Because of this, the Zeboim civilization sinks to the ocean floor, and the approximately 4,000 years disappears from human knowledge. Creation of Emeralda. Ravine in the year 6082. Ravine desires to recruit Kim into their organization, but he rejects this. Okay, so I guess they contact him, he says no, then he finds out about Myung's plotting, and then he contacts them. Right? Discussions on both sides come to a mutual end. Afterwards, Ravine continues to persist in contacting Kim. At the end of that year, on the day of the Thanksgiving festival, Emeralda is created. A year later, having realized the true nature of his sponsor Myung, Kim transfers Emeralda to a research facility prepared by Ravine. In an attempt to seize Kim's research, Myung moves the military in, and special forces are sent into the facility. Ellie is killed while the facility is under heavy attack, and the invading forces are destroyed. Kim seals himself up with Emeralda for eternity in the facility and disappears from history. Then full-scale nuclear war breaks out. Due to heavy direct hits and the resulting radioactivity as well as BC weapons within the little more than a year, more than 90% of the entire population is lost. I keep wondering if, like, in the room where we found or met Emeralda, was there like a corpse or something lying around that would have been Kim? I can't recall. But if there was, then it's, now we know who it is. I guess we could have known if we just thought back. But yeah, whatever. And another year later, the upper atmosphere is clogged with fine radioactive particles and nuclear winter sets in. Genetic laboratories in the ruined surface spore out various surviving animal test subjects. Genetic laboratories on the ruined surface. Around this time, Chu-chu gives rise to a new representative class of demi-humans. There's that scene that we saw. There's our good girl Emeralda. The mass driver left behind by Zeboim's civilization. The mass driver makes use of magnetic energy to both repel and attract. With a corresponding object propulsion facility, Linear motor car is one type of this. Okay, I feel like I'm reading this so weirdly. This was built in the Zeboim era for the launching of missiles. Originally, the technology was designed to launch objects out into space, but the military made use of it as a tool of war. In the story, the facility is used for shooting out Torah's nano-assemblers. The first revolt by the created humans against the founders. I guess let's do the encounter first. But first this. The artificial human beings started to revolt against the gods. That happens about 500 years ago. Yeah, the other important era that we kept hearing about in the game. You've come to kill me, she spoke, standing before the man as though not afraid of her own death. A fleeting expression, a face that showed him as separated from all others, alone in the world, colorless, monochrome girl. And against that he is stained in red. Those he had slaughtered, their blood stains his hands, their blood stains his hands even now. And the man bathed in red, instead of answering her question, stands silent, and all the while his hands on the sword are shaking. I see. Thank you. When did his will become a thing that could change? And all for a girl's gentle smile, and only for an instant she appears in color. In a dark world bathed in hypocrisy and falsity, the shining purity of that smile. These are his thoughts. This was the meeting of Elheim and Krelian. Extract from unrecorded script. I was thinking maybe this would be, one of Faye's ancestors, but no, it's Krelian actually. Extract from unrecorded script. About 800 years ago, Cain and the others, having judged humanity to have reached the final stage, found the elite nation Solaris, having managed to surface while remaining hidden until now. They decide for more direct governing. The surface, rebelling against this, forms the Anti-Solaris Alliance. In order to protect the dignity of human beings, human beings, they determine an all-out war. However, within this group, there are those that seek to go against their own power, and so humanity is left with unforgettable scars. The year 9000-ish, the founding of Solaris, the birth of Elheim, and the drinking of chalky milk. (1988) is the year. Founder Adoriel begins the Nissan sect's teachings. 9164. Cain and the others determine that humanity has reached the final level. Solaris is founded. 9226. With Babel Tower as its base, Shevat is founded. 9301. Near the present-day Ave, Kislev border, Nimrod is founded. What was Nimrod again? 9440. Kusal Laodicea exceeds as Nimrod's fifth king. The high point for the Laodicea dynasty. 9453. The Nissan teaching is recognized by Kusal Laodicea as Nimrod's church. 9447. Bishop Penuel receives the Nissan Bishop Poric's investiture. 1 year after that, Penuel establishes the Covenant. 9465. Krelian receives life as an illegitimate child. That year his mother Eleazaru dies. Another name that starts with L. Coincidence? A mother figure whose name starts with L? Maybe, maybe not. 9469, nice. Roni Fatima, Rene Fatima are born. 9475, Lacan is born at the eastern edge of Ignis, near present-day Lahan. The year Elohim is born to the bishop at the Ashura monastery as the second daughter of 3 sisters. Oh. I guess I didn't know that Elohim had, like, blood sisters. Also, Lacan was born near present-day Lahan, where, Faye spent those 3 years. I guess, yeah, I think we heard about the fact that he was brought back to, like, a familiar place or something. Maybe. 9481. Lacan is separated from both parents by death. 9482. Elohim is adopted by Cardinal Penuel. That year she enters Penuel's convent. Sorry, not covenant. And another year later, in order to recover from illness, she is transferred to the eastern edge of Ignis, where she returns to Ashura Monastery. That year, Lacan and Elohim meet. Elohim again returns to Penuel convent. At their parting, Lacan hands Elohim a sketch of herself. She is renamed Sophia. But that sketch is unfinished, right? Unless that's a different one. I guess a sketch isn't the same as a painting. 9486. Zephyr is born as Shevat's 3rd queen. Good old Zephyr. She was a good one. At least as far as I know. The rise of the Nissan sect. A time when very few people are able to use ether. The Nissan sect's founder, Adoriel, was one gifted with an unusual amount of ether ability. Those people fascinated by the mysterious power revered Adoriel as a messenger of God, and day by day the numbers of the faithful began to increase. Originally, the Nissan sect was traditional teaching in the region Adoriel was a traditional teaching. It was hardly the stuff of which typical religions are made. However, Adoriel's ether ability developed this teaching into a regular religion. After Adoriel's death, her successors were chosen as women with high ether ability. And Adoriel herself was the first abbess of high ether ability. In the time of Faye and the others, the Nissan sect's teachings had been reformed by Mother Sophia, so that the current sect's beliefs were different compared to before. Nimrod and the Nissan sect. Approximately 600 years ago, during a time of conflict between a number of small countries, the country of Nimrod was founded. At first it was recognized as a small country in comparison to others, but it slowly expanded in influence. At the time of the accession of the 5th king of Nimrod, Husel Laodicea, it had grown to the 2nd largest country next to Shevat. Wow. However, at this time, governments were still in a state of turmoil, and Emperor Kusal, deriding an unshakable authority, focused on the Nissan sect, which at that time had prospered. Their intimidation by surrounding countries was also part of the emperor's plan, even as he acknowledged the Nissan Church officially. What a jerk. From their first recognition as a church, the Nissan sect accepted Emperor Kusal's assistance, and from there expanded swiftly. However, Emperor Kusal's goal was the Nissan sect's political uses, and knowing this, the order members rebelled against him. In the end, Penuel's convent came under attack. Sophia and Penuel convent. Born as the second daughter of the Ashura monastery's bishop, Ellie went to be the adopted daughter of Penuel convent's mother as soon as she reached 7 years old. Having reached the height of her ether ability from the time she was very young, Ellie was qualified to be accepted into Penuel convent. Why do I keep saying covenant? Convent as a candidate for mother. However, being born with congenital illness, before long Ellie's condition grew worse. In order to try a cure, she was transferred back home to the Ashura monastery at the eastern edge of Ignis. It was there that Ellie met Lacan, and before a few months had passed, she returned to Penuel Convent. God damn it! And so, 5 years later, Emperor Kusel enacted a plan to assassinate Sophia in the Penuel convent. The incident of the attack on Penuel convent. The one chosen to attack Penuel and carry out the criminal act, Krelian, was unable to assassinate Sophia, and for the next 7 years or so, his whereabouts were unknown. By which we mean right next to Lacan and Sophia. Probably. So this is 9488. Okay, only 2 years after these events, the Solaris War breaks out. Sophia's death. The Great War, 500 years ago. 9488. The attack on Penuel Convent. Sophia and Krelian meet. Sophia is 13 years old. Oh, still pretty dang young. That year, the Nissan sect undergoes a schism. 2 years after that, downfall of the Laodicea dynasty. Kusel Laodicea is murdered. Nissan Church on the decline. 9493. On a trip visiting away from home, Lacan gets pulled into the conflict over rule with Solaris, and there he meets Krelian. At this time, he thinks that Sophia and Krelian are together, and while he and Sophia see each other again, there is no reunion. Oh, with Krelian, I see. 1995, having been in seclusion, I guess, for a period of 7 years, the candidate for Mother, Sophia, appears before the Nissan members. Because of the former Penuel's sponsorship, Sophia becomes the mother. Sophia is 20 years old. She changes the Nissan name to the Nissan Orthodox. In the process, she changes many of the teachings as well. Jack Lindy becomes the mother's assistant advisor. That year, the convent's military corps is formed. Krelian becomes their leader. Oh, there's always gotta be a military. Just 1 year later, Lacan and Sophia reunite at Ashura Monastery. That year, the Anti-Solaris Alliance is formed, with Shevat as its center. The Solaris War breaks out. 94-97. Due to the effects of war, many refugees appear around the world. They head for Nissan. Lacan meets the leaders of a caravan group, Roni and Rene, and form a partnership for the alliance. Yay! That's where Best Boy stems from, in a way. An unforeseen result of the that's 2 years later. An unforeseen result of the refugees coming to Nissan is that its influence is increased. The Elder Council of Shevat send the third queen, Zephyr, as emissary. Nissan is drawn into the maelstrom of war along with the Anti-Solaris Alliance. That year, Solaris builds Soylent facilities all over the world. Fucking Solaris, man. The discord between Myung and the Gazelle Ministry comes out in the open. At the end of that year, at the urging of Krelian, Lacan begins painting Sophia's portrait. Maybe if he hadn't done that, Sophia and Lacan wouldn't have fallen in love. Then maybe Krelian wouldn't have ended up a bitter villain down the road. Who can say? And in the very clean year 9500, Lacan and the others set out in search of the anima relics. In the process, Lacan learns of the existence of Zohar. For the 4 members of the Gazelle Ministry who have gained anima relics, causing havoc among the nations of the world, are defeated by Lacan. The Gazelle Ministry ministers work out the secret trade with the Council of Elders in Shevat. The death of Sophia for the end of battle in Ignis. What? The Gazelle ministers work out the secret trade with, I guess there's a bit of a typo, work out the secret trade with the Council of the Elders in Shevat. The death of Sophia for the end of the battle in Ignis. How? What? How? What? Does that sentence not make much sense, or am I missing something? The Gazelle Ministry work out a secret trade with the... I guess, okay, no, the secret trade is that they wanted Sophia dead. Okay. Just secret trade and like if that had said deal instead of trade, I think I would have gotten it. But trade doesn't, like, trade feels like it has to be like some wares that are being traded. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's fine. She perishes at the age of 25 years. Myung, a captive in Shevat. Yeah. Excalibur. Shevat excavates this ship in order to combat the Merkava constructed by Solaris. It is a refurbished naval vessel. With mostly automatic functions, it can be operated by one person, and it has great strategic possibilities. What is this song from? The beginnings and the ending? And the end? Is that what the song is called? I guess so. When does this play? Whatever. I don't remember the song, is what I'm saying. Merkaba. Determining 500 years ago that it was time to resurrect Deus, the Gazelle Ministry constructed... to resurrect Deus, the Gazelle Ministry constructed Merkava as Deus's mothership. Myung was against this, feeling the time was too early. Constructed about midway through the Great War, it dealt a fairly heavy attack on Shevat and Nissan. Interesting that they use different spellings, Merkaba here and then Merkava here and here. But that's fine. Let me drink some more water. The remaining... Oh, this one has lyrics again. Let's skip that. Okay. The remaining scars from the Solaris War. In Est calendar year 6496, the people rebelling against the management of the surface by Solaris are formed into the Anti-Solaris Alliance with Shevat as its core. Several days afterwards, the Solaris War breaks out, and so the war continues without hope of victory for either side, and many people despair. It was a war that left a bad aftertaste. I feel like all wars probably leave a bad aftertaste, but this one must have been especially bad. In this case, Shevat, who held together the Alliance army, was in accordance with Solaris behind the scenes. At that time, Shevat was ruled by several with authority called elders. Their goal was merely to rule over the surface, and hindering that was the existence of Solaris. They saw their best opportunity when the people allied against Solaris. Going along with this, they formed the Anti-Solaris Alliance in order to eradicate the troublesome Solaris. But for the elders, who finally realized its awesome military might, secretly they began to try to negotiate a deal, and in so doing betrayed the army of the Alliance. However, the Surface Army felt no such unease in their hearts, and on the Solaris side, strife arose due to the actions of those in authority. At that time, the people of the Gazelle Ministry, Deus's parts, to put it succinctly, they're aligning with anima relics in order to become terminal interface weapons for Deus. Okay. However, the Myang at that time expected that possibly there were humans with ether ability. Those with ether ability who aligned with an anima relic would have much more power than the Gazelle ministers who had no ether ability and would be very desirable as weapons. Because of this, the Gazelle ministry found Myang's existence a nuisance, and they contacted the elders of Shevat. They would give to Shevat half the land surface for the freezing of Myang in carbonite. Huh. That's not very nice. But I mean, yeah. And added to this, a clause for the trade of Sophia. The human's third rise to power comes to a sudden end. The artificial human beings started to revolt against the gods. It happened about 500 years ago. At the end of the Ignis War, the first type mobile terminal weapons of Deus, Diabolos, are activated. 96% of the human population is killed. This tragedy comes to be called the Day of Collapse, and Roni and the others determine to see if by their actions anything can be done. However, Myang's plan to newly reform humans is underway. And so, is there any way in which humanity's fate can be altered? At this time, no one has the answer. Appearance of the Diabolos core, Trellion's secret maneuvering, Day of Collapse. 9501. Roni discovers a vessel, present-day Yggdrasil 4, loaded onto the Eldritch in an Ignis battlefield. In order to leave it to posterity, he orders his companions in the caravan to begin repairing it. Lacan sets free the imprisoned Myang from Shevat. Desiring Zohar, he goes to the area of Bethlehem. Well, so we got that covered too now. That year, Lacan and Zohar make contact. The incomplete contact gives rise to Graf. Having become Graf, Lacan awakens the Diabolos, Deus's first stage mobile terminals, and they proceed to annihilate the surface. That's fucked up, Lacan. Or Graf. Due to this destruction, 96% of the population is lost. Roni and the others, as well as the survivors, band together with all their power to resist the Diabolos. Having become the core, original Weltall is placed in suspended animation, barely escaping destruction. René Fatima dies shielding his brother in the battle. Afterward, Lacan, having become Graf, disappears to parts unknown. And 1 year after that, Nissan is refounded by those who escape the Day of Collapse. That year, the assistant advisor to the mother, Jacqueline, gives birth to René Fatima's keepsake, Isolde. Later, Isolde becomes the Nissan sect's second mother. 9505, Zephyr, along with the three sages, restores Shevat. 9506, Krelian makes contact with Emperor Cain. He recompiles the Gazelle Ministry's data and moves it into SOL 9000. The SOL 9000. Shit out of luck 9000. 9510, Roni Fatima founds Ave. That year, without anyone knowing, Lacan dies, leaving only his will behind. It moves into those people who become Grave. Kind of similar to what Myung is doing. 9511, Krelian visits Shevat. Life extension treatments are given to Zephyr on down to various leaders. Life extension treatments are given to Zephyr on down to various leaders. Okay. Planning to rule behind the scenes, Solaris establishes the Church organization. 9513, Kislev is founded. 9598, bit of a jump. Solaris begins the first invasion of Shevat. Due to Krelian of the Special Corps, limiters are placed in the surface dwellers, lambs. 9701, the second invasion of Shevat by Solaris. The reason for Diabolos' revival. For Myung, the resurrection of Deus is all there is, not what is all there is, not what is in store in the coming battle after the resurrection. In other words, it is the destruction of the hostile power in space that is the true goal of all this. The Gazelle Ministry understand this true goal, and while wishing for Deus, God, and full embodiment, their thoughts run more deeply than Myung's. And so, Myung, wishing the complete resurrection of Deus, revives the Diabolos core. That era's Myung has strong interest in those possessing ether ability, such as Lacan and Sophia, Roni and the others. And so, the fact that the first stage mobile terminals, Diabolos, don't have ether ability becomes the biggest factor. If mobile interfaces such as Diabolos had ether ability, and from there could achieve a perfect revival, this was Myung's thought, once more desiring to reform humans, and using the Diabolos to carry out the reset. As a result, only those humans with high ether ability would survive, and those humans becoming parts for Deus would finally evolve to the last stage. Damn, dog! Ruthless. Makes sense. From like an evolutionary standpoint, I guess. But that's fucked up. Also, there is another reason for having revived Diabolos. That is to simulate the coming battle using the Diabolos. In the case of Diabolos, a distant 10,000 years before, they had activated the Deus' first stage mobile terminals. These weapons were also being tested to see if they might be used in the coming battle after the resurrection. And so around this time, desiring embodiment and the merging with Deus, the Gazelle ministers set about activating the Geisha key. The Diabolos attack was not only on the surface, but extended to Solaris as well. The inherent meaning of the activation of the key is what put a stop to it. Glossary. Geisha key. I wonder if that's like supposed to be the same thing as the Geisha key with an O instead of an A, which comes up in other media sometimes. If it's just a different spelling for the same thing. But at the end of the day, it's some name for something, so it doesn't really matter. Let me drink some water. So, Geisha key. From the very beginning, Humans were changed to be born as parts for Deus, due to gene manipulation and plan. Those people with altered genes, constructed humankind, were called Cephaladiae. Sure. And fated to become parts of Merkava and terminal battle weapons. The Geisha Key was meant to activate those people that had been created as building parts for Deus and cause them to revert to their original form, parts. It was decided to use it on the day of Deus' resurrection. Yeah, we kind of saw the effects of that, didn't we? So here we have Shevat, I guess. And this is some other place. Maybe around the area of Lahan? I don't know. Igna's War breaks out. Relationship of various people. The time of the Gospel. 9715. War breaks out in Ignis. Kislev issues Ave a declaration of battle lines. A whole bunch of time passes. 9959. Krelian initiates the 5th stage of the Malak plan. He comes into contact with Myang, 1996. Not 996. I guess the 996th iteration of Myang is what that means. 9965. Josiah is born as the child of father Abraham Blanche and mother Maria. Good old Josiah. 9969. Due to a secret plot influenced by the church, Rico is born as a demi-human, meant to succeed Sigmund as the ruler of Kislev. He was banished along with his mother, Anna, in order to hide the truth of his demi-human birth. And then 1 year later, Hugo, Citan, is born, as the 9th child of father Shoki Rikdol and mother Luli. Sigurd is born to father Edbard IV, the king of Ave, and mother Shalimar Harcourt. So, Citan and Sigurd are the same age. 9975. Due to Krelian, Ramses is born as a copy. 0808 191 Ramses of the Emperor. After about 10 years, he's left in the waste collection facility. He sure had it rough, didn't he? 9978. Josiah enters the school of at Jugend. 9979. Because of the church's doctors, Rico's mother Anna is overwhelmed and dies from a wasting illness. That sucks. 9981. Faye is born as the child of Khan Wong and mother Karen. Ellie is born as a girl to Eric van Houten, or Erich van Houten, who knows, and mother Medina. Edbard IV and Empress Marielle's heir Bart is born. That year, Sigurd's mother Shalimar dies. At the funeral, Sigurd sees his father Edbard IV for the first time. Afterwards, he enters the Ave Palace as the heir's appointed guardian. So he was born in 70. So he's actually 11 years older than Bart. I thought they were closer in age. 9982. Due to a germ experiment at the Soylent facility, a plague breaks out in Solaris. Third-class citizen level. Plague breaks out in Solaris' third-class citizen level. Even though still young, the genius Hugo receives the effects of poison in an experiment. 9983. Margie is born as daughter to Nissan, mother Elvira Fatima, and father Francis Ravain. Billy is born as boy to Josiah, Blanche, and Raquel. That year, Sigurd is kidnapped as a Solaris test subject. 1985. Karen awakens as Myung. She starts conducting spiritual fusion experiments on Faye. Coming in contact with Krelian, Karen tells him to abandon Ramses. Ramses kills second-level citizens Karen Becker Karan, I guess. Karan Becker, and merges with him. After taking on Becker's ID, he enters Jugend. There he meets he meets a girl whose name he doesn't know. Later, the present Myung. Later the present Young, I see. Myung. 10 months after Karen awakens as Myung, she dies due to Faye going berserk. The present Myung awakens. Halfway through that year, Huga and Sigurd enter Jugend with Ramses' recommendation. 1986, just the next year. Maria is born to father Nikolai Balthazar and mother Claudia. That year, the elements are started. Jesse, Ramses, Satan, and Sigurd take positions. Another year later, Minister Shakan causes a coup d'etat. Bart and Margie are locked away. After a month, Sigurd escapes out of Solaris. After coordinating with Maison, he rescues Bart and Margie. What a hero. What a bunch of heroes. Good old Maison. Maison is the true MVP. He is such a good guy. He deserves more credit, is basically what I'm mostly saying. And then 1990, before accepting a position as Gebler commander, Jesse flies with his family from Solaris. Flees, not flies. At the end of that year, Maria's mother Claudia dies. Due to her grandfather Balthazar, Maria escapes Solaris riding on 17. Even here 17 is misspelled. Come on. Why? Why would you spell 17 like that? Come on. 1991. Rico becomes Battling King. And then the next year, Satan takes the post as Director of Strategy for the third invasion of Shevat. At that time, Jesse enters the Surface Guerrilla Corps. Guerrilla Corps? Shouldn't it be Guerrilla, like UE instead of O? Maybe they just called it Gorilla, who knows. Led by Gaspar. That year, Billy's younger sister, Primera, is born. And the next year after that, Jesse runs away and disappears from his family's place. That year, Elru is totally subdued by Solaris. At the end of that year, Margie becomes the Nissan mother. Then another year later, Ellie enters the school at Jugend. That year, Satan marries Yui. Midori is born. At year's end, Jesse meets Shevat's engineer Josiah Black. After his death, Jesse has plastic surgery. 1995, just another year later, Bart's gear Brigadier is completed. Decorated in first battle that year due to attack by Welts, Billy's mother dies. At Stone's urging, he enters the church monastery. That fucking Stone guy. A year later, Faye's father fights Graf again. He bears the wounded Faye to Lahan. That year, according to a secret directive from Emperor Kane, Satan goes to the surface. He takes the name Satan Uzuki. After that, joining his family in Shevat, he moves with them to Lahan village. That year, Maria goes with Balthazar to Shevat. 1997, due to a slave generator accident, Bart and Sigurd lose their left eyes and wear an eye patch. At the end of that year, Billy's father, Jesse, returns to him. 9998. Due to an overdose of drive, Ellie heavily wounds her fellow classmates. Her father, Erich, accepts the post of SS director. SS? That sounds bad when you say it like that. That year, Billy becomes an official Atone. Afterwards, he opens the orphanage. And 9999, the game starts here. That sure is a tumultuous, 10 years or so. Social structure. Complex structure of influence and power. What is it these powers have done at times, and what is the desired result? I'm considering maybe this is where we should stop. Let's maybe look ahead a little bit and see if there's how much worthwhile info is in this, Scan a little bit. Plan for surface rule and the appearance of Solaris on the chart of history. Could be interesting, of course. Let's maybe check back on the album. Wait, let's zoom out again. So we are here. And then all of this stuff. Uprising of the surface against powerful rule, the Great War. Structuring of the present nations. I mean, this all seems like it could be interesting, I guess. But obviously I can't read this entire thing on stream today. And I don't think I want to make this like a series of streams where I end up going through everything. So I'm a little conflicted as to what to do. Maybe I will stop here, and then by tomorrow I will have decided if I will continue reading through more of this / all of this, or maybe I will have decided on which sections I should cover. See, here it's spelled correctly! It's spelled correctly. Why can't you fucking just do it right? It's here. I'm assuming these title things are just, they just were there in the original, even in Japanese, right? That's also why the Merkaba and Merkava spelling was different on that one page. So why didn't they just see this and go oh, let's enter this into Google or something and see, oh yeah, that's how the word is spelled. Wow. I don't know. It bothers me. But yeah, I guess we're gonna do that. We're gonna end here on this after having covered all of this, this entire, history, I guess, right? That's the section. History. Goes onto page 18, if I'm seeing that right. This is I don't see a page number. But there's page 17, so yeah, that makes sense. We read through the entire history section, which is probably the most pressing stuff. Then this stuff also seems kind of interesting. Let's check the this part again. So history, then social structure. I guess social structure probably isn't that important for the understanding of the later games, because it pertains to the world of that game, of those happenings directly, right? Might not be as important for future games, maybe? I don't know. Character might not be very important, because it's about specific characters, maybe. Then drama. What could drama even be? Is it just the story? I don't even know what to expect of that. Then character gallery. I guess that's just stuff. What pages is this saying this stuff is on? It's saying 156 or something? Yeah, 156. So there's like well over 100 pages of social structure. Holy crap. And then like 40 pages of character, like 10 pages of drama, and the rest is character gallery. I think the gallery might just literally be art and stuff. What is this? Okay, character gallery. Dark Summer. What the hell? But yeah, potentially we'll do another stream tomorrow, covering something, some other stuff that might seem interesting. I'll like skim through this and see if there's stuff that I want to cover. And if not, then, you know, I think we covered at least the most important stuff, I think. And, yeah. I don't know what the exact legal situation of this is, so I guess I won't put a link to this in the description, but it's easy enough to find. So if you want to read this yourself, then, you know, it'll be easy. Or if you really want me to read all of this, then I guess leave a comment and tell me. It'll take a while, though. Is there... Look, it's Emeralda. But I can't tell if that's her small or tall form. Whatever. Yeah. If you really want me to cover everything, maybe I can be pursued. And if nobody requests it, then I will just check if there's stuff I do want to cover. And by tomorrow, you will probably know. Because then I will either stream that, or something else, or nothing at all. It'll be a surprise. For you and me. So for today, I thank you for watching, hanging out, and, you know, learning about the depths of the world of Xenogears with me, or just Xeno in general, I guess, technically, maybe. And I hope you'll join me again sometime. Like tomorrow, when we potentially read more of this, or maybe not. Or, you know, any other time that we do any other thing. For example, Mondays. This was used to be where I talk about the Hard Edge Undernight Inbirth Weekly, but that has been put to rest, actually. The main organizer was like too busy and didn't feel like he could handle taking care of all of that anymore. So that's on break, at least, and for a while. So Monday will just be regular stream days, I guess. I'll see what I do. But yeah, if, you know, whenever you want to hang out, I'm gonna be here, and we'll have a grand old time together. So, until next time, I say, Otsukaresama. Bye-bye.